Aloha everyone, how's it going? Jonathan here with Diederik, the founder of Doc20.org, an education innovation organization that works with high schools and universities to help bring more innovation, creativity, and new ideas to the university, to their curriculum, and really help to give teachers a new perspective of the potential that they have as facilitators of social change, of innovation, and then using new technologies like open space, like the art of hosting, to be able to open up the classroom and turn it into a space for innovation.
Well, I couldn't have said it better.
Diederik, thanks for being here, man.
Sure.
Appreciate it. And right now we're actually here at the New World campus, which is a co-working space for entrepreneurs and social innovators, also for the government, for municipalities, for impact investors. I mean, you guys are bringing in some of the community's biggest leaders here in The Hague, where you're starting to bring people together in, what is this building? It's the old
post main post building of the Netherlands.
Wow!
So actually, it has a history.
Wow!
It's built in the 20s, and it's a privilege to be in this building.
Yeah, and you started kind of building this community a few years back, where you were bringing together these social entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, actually, we wanted to create. I wanted to create my own. I wanted to have my own city like more lively and see what is the potential of my city. So I was actually searching for who are the people who are doing the good stuff.
Yes.
So I wanted to create this network around social entrepreneurship.
Cool.
And actually, within a few months, we had 300 people in the network.
Wow.
So that was like above my expectations.
Right.
That was great.
That's cool. So you started to build this community. How did you build the community? What do you think really brought that many people so quickly to be a part of it?
Two things, like a good story and loads of coffee. I had many meetings in cafes.
Cool.
Inviting people and just share my story and just also like checking if that desire is only my desire or if it's more broad.
Right.
And that was the case. And actually, everyone I talked with, I asked for at least 2 other persons I had to talk with. So in that way, it spread quite fast.
So were you working on Doc20 before you started building that community?
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start Doc20? I know you mentioned that it started off with this desire to build a documentary, and then it turned into this education innovation company. What kind of got you into this new idea of education and innovation?
So I did a lot of work in education before I started my organization, and actually I was a consultant, educational consultant.
Cool.
I didn't tell you that yet, but
cool.
So that was my first job, and I was okay in doing that, but also I was like, I saw that there was something more essential missing in the system.
Right.
So I could, of course I could help the schools, but it was very short-term advices I could give them. But the actual thing I wanted to say to them, you have to do things like radically differently. But that was not my assignment.
Right.
So that's where I thought, okay, I want to create a place where I can experiment with my ideal educational system.
Wow.
And that in the end became Doc20. And now that it's a platform of great people who have that same vision. We do great stuff in universities.
Right.
But at first it started like with very small project outside the schools. And it's great to see that now, a few years later, the schools are actually asking us to come in.
Wow.
And to do the good work.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. And now you're mostly working in universities. And are you a professor in a university, or do you teach? And how did you discover? How did you enter in as an educational consultant? How did that even start?
I don't know. Actually, I'm an environmental scientist, so that's my study. So that was a previous life, actually.
I see.
I don't have a teaching permit, but I do teach.
Cool.
No one ever asked me for that permit, so we have to keep it a bit silent here.
Yeah.
But I don't think I need one. Actually, I know that I'm good in what I'm doing, and my colleagues are doing great work as well.
That's great, and I think it's important for academia and the world to acknowledge the fact that learning happens in so many different ways, shapes, and forms.
Yeah.
And if anyone knew that, it should be academia. They should have studied it by now.
They should.
And to acknowledge the fact that the walls of academia could potentially limit the thinking of the teachers there, and so to open the walls and open the doors up to community educators, people who are doing new things, is important. Yeah. But to see what you're actually doing, and to see how innovative it is and how much impact it's having, is really transforming this idea of the potential, I think, of education and teachers, and who are the teachers, and it's really cool.
It's all about like redefining what is a classroom. For example, we also teach outside under a tree. For example, if the weather is good, why stay inside? Why don't you go outside? Redefine what learning is about. Redefine what school is about. Redefine yourself, basically, and what is your core. So actually we ask a lot of questions to teachers, to students, but also to the system.
Right.
And that's an interesting process.
Right, and it kind of goes back to that quote that says the quality of life is dependent on the questions you ask yourself, and maybe the quality of your company or the quality of your business or the quality of your education program is dependent on the quality of the questions that you ask the stakeholders in that organization. So what has been kind of the response of these questions? Well, very, very good evaluations from the students. They love our programs. Cool.
We always score in the highest regions of evaluations, and then teachers get curious. Okay, what are you doing differently then?
Right.
And that's where we started, for example, to teach teachers how to do things differently.
Cool.
So it's really by trial and error and see what works and what doesn't, and go on with what works.
Right.
There's not really a theory behind the work we are doing. I think we are creating sort of the theory by doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, what are some of the models that you use in your facilitation? I know you mentioned Theory U. You've talked about Art of Hosting. What is your approach when you first see like a challenge? Like what are you looking for?
Well, always like we are very interested in what is the knowledge in the room. So that's like the basic, the fundament of our class always.
Right.
So how can we make that knowledge visible and accessible?
Right.
And how can we empower students to share their knowledge and to learn from that?
Powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's like the basic under everything we do.
Right.
Participatory learning.
Okay, so your organization, Doc20, is doing education, innovation. You're creating new types of programs, new frameworks, new models. What are some of the programs that you're creating now for education and innovation?
Yeah. So we have a few yearly events. Every summer we organize a summer school called Leadership for Sustainable Innovations. We do that for the University of Utrecht. We invite like between 20 and 40 international students who come over for 2 weeks and work on concrete projects, like
wow.
From the market. And actually we ask companies or organizations, okay, what is your biggest challenge right now in terms of like a fast changing world, and how you're able or not able to adapt to that. And the students will work on these programs, on these assignments.
Wow.
And they come up with solutions. They present them back to the clients.
Wow.
That's a really beautiful project, which is like, I think this summer it's going to be held for the 5th time in a row. So that's really cool.
Very cool. And how do you select the businesses that are involved?
Mainly from our own network, which is growing, of course, and we ask around. Actually, this place is going to be a great place where we can find business cases.
Very cool.
In the future. But yeah, it's just we talk with our people, with our friends, and ask, okay, what is a cool assignment provider, and they, and they love that.
Yeah.
So it's another approach. We use the theory U. I know that you know it.
Yep.
It's a really nice process where you go beyond the quick answers and go beyond that. So really ask questions like, okay, what is the real problem, and what is the origin of the organization, for example, and on what belief was it once founded?
Wow.
And can we still go back to that original spark and then look back to the challenge, and maybe we can work from there? And often there is the solution also, like from this original spark. That's a really nice process, and also for the client, it's really nice to be remembered of that original spark.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one program, and we created a minor, for example, for the Hague University here, called Leadership, Exploring Leadership. That's a minor we wrote, and we run that program.
Exploring leadership.
Exploring leadership.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we work with the latest leadership theories, but also we ask the students, okay, what is your desire, and how can you apply that to your own life, and what does it mean to you, to the decision you want to make? And thirdly, so it's more the hands-on, again with real clients we work, so they apply it to real business cases.
Very cool. And now, did that university previously have a leadership course or minor before that? No. So you came in and created an entirely new minor.
Yes.
How many courses is involved with that?
What do you mean?
How many different when you say a minor?
Yeah.
That means multiple classes. How many?
Yeah.
How many classes?
So every student in the university can apply to that minor. So it's a university broad minor.
Okay.
So it goes through all the schools within the university.
Great.
So that's.
And is it one class, just one course, and then it's done?
Yeah, Okay. But of course, I would love to explore what can we do next.
Great.
So we did it last year for the first time, and this is actually we start in September for the second run.
Great.
That's good.
Good work.
Another project where I'm really proud of, and that's focusing on teachers, is Your Ideal Classroom, and that's actually a retreat for teachers.
Cool.
Where we actually see that teachers are often tired and don't have much time, or don't take much time to reflect on what does it mean for me to be a teacher, and what is my ideal way of teaching, and
Wow.
just create space and time for teachers to reflect on their teacher.
Right, and have that conversation with other teachers, and then also be heard, because I know that so often teachers are just really busy with teaching curriculum from the past, and that's their job, and
year in, year out.
Right. It's the same thing, and we're just repeating history year after year, and they're not really being asked, what do you think? What do you think? How do you think it should work?
Yeah.
And that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
So that's like a retreat for teachers.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah. And also like sending information year after year. It's like you're also sending away your energy, and so people are like, teachers are often like burned out in that way. But if you create a system where the energy flows more, and that you can hold the space for your classroom to allow the knowledge flow in the group, including yourself, then you will gain energy often. It's another way of perceiving your classroom.
That's important. Because teachers, they're stressed. They're so busy, and then it comes to summer, and that's usually they get a summer break or whatever. But to be able to have an inspiring space to inspire teachers to be better teachers, that's a powerful.
And also go beyond grading and go beyond testing. Students ask their teachers, okay, what do we have to learn minimum?
Right.
On what page they have to, can we do a test exam? So that's very short-term learning, and it's not very rewarding for both the teacher and the student.
Students are all, it's like they're looking for what is the minimum amount of work that I have to do, with the assumption that most of the work that you're going to assign me is something that's not of interest, it's not inspiring, and it's not like, they're not asking, hey teacher, what is the potential of this class this year? They wouldn't even think of that. What are the opportunities that are going to come out of this course?
Totally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you've got your teacher program, you've got the university leadership program, you've got the
minor, so we create a curricula actually, and another is that we host redesigning processes for redesigning curricula together with the teachers from the whole school.
Wow.
So for example, we do that in the University of Leiden right now. So 32 out of 130 teachers are involved in this process, and it's a long-term process. So we started in September 2014, and we have to be ready at September 2016. So we have like a 2-year process, and that's new to me as well. That we have that much space to.
And you're just making it up like it's a new program.
So what we do there is that we have like a 1-year divergence process and a 1-year convergence process.
Perfect.
And normally we do that in a few days, and a few days but this is such a luxurious position to be in.
And how do you find funding for these types of programs?
So we are just paid by the school, by the universities.
Great.
They hire us.
Great.
To do the job.
That's cool.
Yeah. More and more. I mean, in the beginning it was like we had to really find funding and subsidies, etc.
Yeah.
But now I really feel and see that the time changed since we started the organization, and now a lot of universities have a dropout percentage of 40%, 50% after the first year. It's crazy. Students.
Whoa.
After the first year, so it's crazy.
Right, because they don't find value.
No, they just, so they change their studies after the first year. It's like 40-50% of the students.
Yeah.
Every student, each student who changes his studies costs like €5,000 for the universities.
Wow.
So there's money.
There's money
for to reduce that.
Increased retention equals increased money for the university.
It's a very simple business model.
Wow.
So if we can change that number from 40 to 35%, for example, then we save money.
Yeah. And are you working with the owner of the school, the president of the school, or is this
no, not that high.
Who's the decision maker there?
It's often the program coordinators. So they coordinate a school or a campus within the school. Right.
So the school of business or the school of finance.
Law or whatever. Yeah. And they have they're quite free in spending their budgets.
I see.
And creating their curriculum.
That's great. Yeah. I think that that's it's nice to hear that it's the people. People are actually able to have that type of influence and bring on specialists to.
I've heard that's quite special also internationally. I didn't know that, but it's really nice.
I also think it's fascinating that you don't have a degree in this. And you're coming into academia saying, hello,
yes,
everything that you're doing is wrong. Let me tell you. I'm just kidding.
I'm not saying that everything is wrong. I think you're doing great work. I think you can improve.
Yeah, that's cool. Dude, good work. That's so awesome.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so now building this community, and you started as an educational consultant. You're working with the universities. You're building a community of partners and social entrepreneurs, and then you get asked to join this team as a founding member and co-founder of this school and this space. Can you tell us a little bit about this space?
This space, yeah. Well, we just had a tour in the building. It's still, every time I just turn on the key and enter the building, I'm amazed by this by the hugeness and by the beauty of this building.
Yeah.
So it used to be like offices, old school offices, like low ceilings with long corridors with left and right small offices, very much in an industrial setting. And what we did, especially in the big space, we broke out all the walls and the ceiling so that we had the original space back.
Great.
And you've seen it, it's spacious.
Yeah.
So what we would want to do here in this place is to create an ecosystem for change to happen, basically.
Great. And so what kind of stakeholders are you getting involved with this space?
As diverse as possible. So we are aiming at NGOs, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, basically, impact investors, governments, knowledge institutes like schools. As diverse as possible. So
now, one thing I've seen with this kind of evolution of the industry of impact investment, it's new. It's an emerging market, and it's great because it's basically investing in innovation, and which is a risky investment. It can be that traditionally it's not a trust fund.
No.
It's a new thing.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like people are dipping their toe in and feeling it out. What was it that you did or that you saw that made this space possible? What was the difference? What made these people go? Like, is it the times? Is it an idea whose time has come, or was it just the particular people?
So first of all, I'm not the only one involved. So I want to also give a lot of credits to my colleagues, and especially like the New World Campus originally was founded from the international development world. And also for a part deal, it's funded from that world, and that's also like a group of organizations who is they're also from the old world still. So the way they are structured, very much thinking from their box,
right.
Actually competing with other 8 organizations who are doing the same work, but with another. With the same pot of money.
Great.
So it's strange to compete in a market where you actually want to do good for the world, right? So
who can do the most good? That's a good competition. I think that's a good problem to have.
I mean, I'm always fascinated by that, and that combined with, at least in Holland, and that's quite broad internationally, a lot of cuttings on that market. Like there's less and less money going to international aid and development programs.
Right.
There was a understanding that we should do things differently. So that's the origin of this place. It's coming from that world. What I, together with my colleague Nick Patterson, did is combine that principle with concept with local development. Because I think when you want to go there, you have to do good here as well. So you have to. It goes together. And also, I think a lot of the innovations we do here, we can apply there, and vice versa.
Right. So now, this was an international development organization that.
No, it was funded. It was founded from that field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not an international organization.
Right. So so your proposal or the reason why this space was made possible was because they saw the potential in what exactly?
Well, we see the potential in bringing in all these stakeholders, which I just mentioned. That we go. A lot of the problems and challenges we are facing right now are so complex that they can't be solved from that box thinking.
Right.
So we have to open all these doors actually, and to create spaces where all these stakeholders meet actually. Right. and where they also meet, actually where they can step off their business card for a while,
right?
At least, so that they can actually meet each other as human, with their background, of course.
Right.
So they can use their background too. The Wicked Problem Plaza is a nice example, which you just saw, this huge round container, which is actually designed to put in all these stakeholders with a well-designed process and facilitation, where we are searching for the best action possible with these stakeholders.
Right.
So it's more than a consensus than a compromise.
Yeah.
Because compromises often get less in quality, but it's really like 1 + 1 is 3.
Wow.
That's what we are searching for.
Very cool.
Yeah. And still, I mean, we don't have the answers. It's a very interesting experiment, actually.
Right. Well, it's really cool to be able to come here, and prior to this being in Amsterdam and going to the Freedom Lab,
sure,
and seeing the development there, seeing how far they've got, and then coming here and seeing how this is the beginning phase. You're at the beginning of something great, and the Hague is such an international. It's a hub for nonprofit organizations and NGOs, and it's a place where it's the city of peace. And so to be able to have the leading hub where you're going to be breaking down these walls and starting to create these spaces for conversations that matter to happen. That's going to be huge.
That's going to be happening here.
Yeah, and it's not even just for the Hague. Like, it's going to create it for the Hague, but having all these organizations, these nonprofits. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. I'm sure about that.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're just at the beginning, at the eve of a bigger adventure, and it's not even opened yet officially. It's going to be open in 4 weeks from now.
Wow.
But it's already happening.
Very cool. Yeah. So let's see. I'm trying to think of what other questions would be beneficial. Do you have any other information that you think would be powerful for this?
Well, relating to education, maybe it's nice to mention that we have the City Lab based here, and City Lab is a alliance between all the higher education institutes in The Hague. So we have a few universities and other institutes, and they're collaborating together. And what they do basically is get their students, like their best students, out of their schools, put them here in a room, and provide them with challenges, city challenges.
Wow.
So it's also again a crossover between the real world and education. So it's and I think this place needs students. So this is the first attempt to also have this young energy in the house.
Great.
And I think to have a nice balance between older institutes and fresh ideas from new startups, and I think that's the benefit of this place.
Yeah, it's definitely the future that once we're able to integrate. I think we were talking earlier about how education needs to be integrated in with everything. Like the idea that we need to educate the youth on what innovation is, or what the future looks like. It's thinking that the past is better than the future. And so how can we engage intergenerational stakeholders and everyone involved in decision making, and having everyone take ownership of the future. And so this is the space to do it.
Absolutely.
Right on. Diederik, thank you so much for meeting me, brother. If anyone out there wants to get in touch with you or research and find out more about your organization, what are your websites?
So basically go to www.doc20.org.
Cool.
That's me.
Cool.
You found me there.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Right on. Much love.
Thank you.
Here from The Hague in the Netherlands, this is Jonathan Fritzler and Diederik reporting to you live. Aloha.